C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, first published in 1950, is a classic work of children's fantasy and the best-known novel in the Chronicles of Narnia. The story follows four siblings, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy Pevensie, who discover the magical world of Narnia through an ordinary wardrobe and become part of a struggle against the White Witch and her endless winter. Lewis's literary style combines fairy tale adventure, mythology, Christian allegory, and imaginative fantasy with clear and accessible storytelling. Through the magical world of Narnia and the character of Aslan, the novel explores themes of good and evil, courage, betrayal, forgiveness, sacrifice, redemption, faith, and the transition from childhood toward maturity. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe remains important for its enormous influence on modern fantasy literature and its enduring exploration of moral choices, hope, and the power of selfless love. The story starts with Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy being sent to the countryside to escape the air raids of World War II. They stay in the strange, sprawling house of Professor Kirk, a kind and eccentric old man. On their first rainy day there, the children explore the house and find an empty spare room with only a large wardrobe inside. Peter, Susan, and Edmund leave, but Lucy stays behind and opens the wardrobe. She steps through the coats and discovers a snowy wood at the back. Lucy knows the wardrobe door remains behind her, so she walks farther into the forest. There she meets a faun, a creature who is half man and half goat. The faun carries an umbrella and parcels, and he is so startled by Lucy that he drops everything. Once he recovers, he asks if she is a daughter of Eve, meaning a human girl. He introduces himself as Mr. Tumnus and explains that the land is called Narnia. Lucy says she has come through the wardrobe in the spare room, but Tumnus misunderstands and thinks she comes from places called Wardrobe and Spare Tumnus invites Lucy to tea, and she agrees as long as she does not stay too long. At his home, he gives her a wonderful meal and plays music on his flute. The music enchants Lucy until she suddenly remembers she must return. Tumnus then begins to cry and admits that he serves the White Witch, the cruel ruler who has made Narnia always winter and never Christmas. He has been ordered to capture any humans he finds and hand them over to her. Lucy begs him to let her go. Because he has now met her and knows she is kind, Tumnus cannot betray her. He leads her back to the lamppost near the wardrobe entrance, and they say goodbye. Lucy rushes back through the wardrobe and is shocked when her siblings say she has only been gone for seconds. She tries to show them Narnia, but the wardrobe is ordinary again. Peter and Susan think she is pretending, while Edmund mocks her. On another rainy day, the children play hide and seek. Lucy enters the wardrobe again, and Edmund follows to tease her, but he too finds himself in Narnia. Lucy is nowhere nearby. Instead, Edmund meets a pale, powerful woman riding in a sledge drawn by white reindeer. She wears a crown and calls herself the Queen of Narnia. When the queen learns that Edmund is human, her manner changes. She invites him into the sledge, gives him a hot drink, and conjures Turkish delight. The candy is enchanted, making Edmund greedily crave more. While he eats, the queen questions him about his family. Edmund tells her that he has one brother and two sisters, and that Lucy has already been to Narnia and met a faun. The queen seems especially interested in the fact that there are 4 children. She promises Edmund all the Turkish delight he wants if he brings his siblings to her. The queen sends Edmund back toward the lamppost, where he meets Lucy. She joyfully tells him that Tumnus is safe, but Edmund realizes that the queen is probably the White Witch. Still, because he wants more Turkish delight and likes imagining himself favored by her, he tries to deny the truth. When he and Lucy return home, Lucy expects Edmund to confirm her story. Instead, he tells Peter and Susan that he and Lucy were only playing. His cruelty worries them, and they begin to fear that Lucy is either lying or losing her mind. Peter and Susan ask Professor Kirk for advice. To their surprise, he takes Lucy seriously. He reminds them that Lucy is usually truthful, while Edmund is known to lie. He also argues that another world might exist, and that time might pass differently there. Peter and Susan leave confused but less certain that Lucy is wrong. For a while they avoid the subject and protect Lucy from Edmund's teasing. One day the children hear Mrs. Macready, the housekeeper, leading a tour through the house. Trying to avoid being seen, they rush into the wardrobe room and hide inside the wardrobe. This time all 4 children pass into Narnia. Edmund admits he has been there before, and the others are angry because he lied. Lucy leads them to Tumnus's house, but they find it ransacked. A note says Tumnus has been arrested for treason. Lucy realizes the witch has punished him for sparing her. She begs the others to help rescue him. Everyone except Edmund agrees, so the group follows a robin that seems to be guiding them. The robin leads them through the wood, but then flies away. Soon they meet Mr. Beaver, who proves he is Tumnus's friend by showing Lucy the handkerchief she once gave Tumnus. Mr. Beaver says he has been sent to bring them to Aslan. The name affects the children strangely. Peter, Susan, and Lucy feel hope and joy, while Edmund feels dread. Because spies may be anywhere, Mr. Beaver takes them to his home before explaining more. At the Beaver's house, the children meet Mrs. Beaver and share a warm meal of fish and potatoes. After dinner, Mr. Beaver explains that Tumnus was taken by the witch's secret police and has probably been turned to stone. The only hope is Aslan, the true King of Narnia. Aslan is not a man but a lion, and though meeting him is frightening, he is good. The children must meet him at the stone table. Mr. Beaver also tells them about the prophecy. When 4 sons of Adam and daughters of Eve sit on the thrones at Caer Paravel, the witch's rule will end. Suddenly everyone notices Edmund is gone. Mr. Beaver understands at once that Edmund has gone to the witch because he had the look of a traitor. Since Edmund may have heard the plan to meet Aslan, they cannot stay. Peter, Susan, Lucy, and the Beavers set out immediately for the stone table by paths the witch will not expect. Edmund, meanwhile, walks through the snow to the witch's castle. He keeps convincing himself that the witch is good and that the others are wrong, mostly because he wants more Turkish delight and dreams of becoming a prince. At the castle, he sees many stone statues in the courtyard and mistakes a stone lion for Aslan. He meets Maugrim, the chief of the witch's secret police, and tells the witch what he heard at the Beaver's house. The news that Aslan has returned shakes her, and she orders her dwarf to prepare the sledge. While Edmund travels with the witch, the others continue toward the stone table. They rest in a cave and wake to the sound of bells, fearing the witch's sledge. Instead, they find Father Christmas. His arrival means the witch's power is weakening because Christmas has finally come to Narnia. He gives Mrs. Beaver a sewing machine and tells Mr. Beaver his dam has been repaired. He gives Peter a sword and shield, Susan a bow, arrows, and a horn that summons help, and Lucy a dagger and a healing cordial. Then he gives them food and tea before continuing on his way. The witch treats Edmund cruelly now that she has him. When he asks for Turkish delight, she gives him only stale bread and water. She sends Maugrim and the wolves to the Beaver's house, then sets off with Edmund and the dwarf to hunt the children. On the way, they find small animals celebrating with food from Father Christmas. The witch furiously turns them to stone. Edmund is horrified and begins to understand her cruelty. As the sledge moves on, the snow melts, flowers appear, and spring spreads across Narnia. The dwarf announces that Aslan is causing the change, and the witch threatens to kill anyone who says Aslan's name again. Peter, Susan, Lucy, and the Beavers reach the stone table, an ancient stone slab carved with symbols. Near it stands a golden pavilion, and around it gather the good creatures of Narnia. Aslan is there, majestic and fearsome. Peter approaches him first. When Aslan asks about Edmund, Mr. Beaver says Edmund has betrayed them. Peter admits that he may share some blame because he was angry with Edmund. Lucy begs Aslan to save him, and Aslan says he will do what he can, though it will not be easy. Aslan shows Peter Cair Paravel, the castle where the children will reign, and tells him he will be High King. Suddenly Susan blows her horn. Peter runs to help and finds Susan trapped in a tree while a huge wolf threatens her. Peter attacks and kills the wolf with his sword. Aslan notices another wolf escaping and sends his fastest creatures after it, knowing it will lead them to the witch and Edmund. Then Aslan knights Peter after reminding him to clean his sword. The fleeing wolf reaches the witch and tells her Mogrim is dead and Aslan is in Narnia. The witch remembers the prophecy and decides Edmund must die so the 4 thrones cannot be filled. She ties him to a tree and prepares to kill him, but Aslan's creatures arrive and free him. The witch and dwarf escape by magically turning themselves into a boulder and a stump. The next morning, Edmund is brought safely to Aslan's camp. Aslan speaks privately with him, and whatever he says changes Edmund. Edmund apologizes to his siblings and does not make excuses. Then the witch sends a messenger requesting a meeting with Aslan. She reminds him of the deep magic from the Emperor beyond the sea. Every traitor belongs to her, and she has the right to kill Edmund for his treachery. Aslan admits she speaks truly. He speaks with her alone, and afterwards she gives up her claim on Edmund, though Aslan looks sorrowful and the witch looks triumphant. Aslan orders the camp moved but does not explain why. Throughout the day he becomes increasingly grave. That night Susan and Lucy cannot sleep because they are worried about him. They follow him and beg to stay near him. Aslan allows them to walk with him for a while, asking for their company in his loneliness. When they reach the stone table, he tells them to leave, but they hide nearby. From hiding, Susan and Lucy watch the witch and her monstrous followers surround Aslan. Aslan does not resist as they bind him, shave his mane, muzzle him, mock him, and drag him onto the stone table. The witch says Aslan has traded his life for Edmund's. But once Aslan is dead, nothing will stop her from killing Edmund and the others too. Susan and Lucy cover their eyes as the witch kills Aslan with her stone knife. After the witch's army leaves to prepare for battle, Susan and Lucy come out and weep over Aslan's body. They remove his muzzle but cannot untie the cords. Mice come and nibble through the ropes, freeing him as dawn approaches. Then, as the first golden light appears, the stone table cracks in two with a deafening sound, and Aslan's body is gone. A voice behind the girls tells them it is deeper magic. Aslan stands alive before them. He explains that the witch knew the deep magic, but not the deeper magic from before the dawn of time. When an innocent victim willingly dies in a traitor's place, death works backward and the stone table breaks. Joyfully, Aslan plays with Susan and Lucy, then tells them there is work to do. They ride on his back to the witch's castle. In the courtyard, Aslan breathes on the stone statues, and one by one they return to life. Lions, talking animals, centaurs, satyrs, a giant, and many loyal Narnians, including Tumnus in the dungeons. Once all are restored, Aslan leads them to help Peter's army. The battle is going badly when Aslan's reinforcements arrive. Peter is fighting the witch, who uses her stone knife because Edmund has already smashed her wand. Edmund had realized that the wand allowed her to turn enemies to stone, and his attack gave Peter's army hope. Though Edmund was badly wounded, Aslan leaps upon the witch and kills her, and the battle quickly ends. Lucy uses the healing cordial from Father Christmas to save Edmund, then hurries to help many others who are wounded. When she returns, Edmund is fully healed and changed, free of the spiteful look he once carried. Aslan knights him. Then Aslan crowns Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy as kings and queens of Narnia at Cair Paravel before disappearing, as Mr. Beaver explains he often does until he is needed again. The children rule Narnia for many years with wisdom and kindness. Peter becomes known as King Peter the Magnificent, Susan as Queen Susan the Gentle, Edmund as King Edmund the Just, and Lucy as Queen Lucy the Valiant. They grow into adults and keep Narnia peaceful. One day, Tumnus tells them that the white stag has been seen. Since the white stag is said to grant wishes to whoever catches him, the four rulers set out to hunt it. The chase leads them to Lantern Waste, where the lamppost still stands. The place feels strangely familiar, though they barely remember why. As they continue after the stag, They find the way back through the wardrobe and suddenly tumble into Professor Kirk's house as children again. No time has passed in the ordinary world, and Mrs. Macready is still in the hall. The children tell the professor everything, and he assures them they will return to Narnia someday, though not through the wardrobe, and that more adventures will come.